All right, let's do this again, Ed, because I ran out of space on the card.
Okay, I'm trying to remember what I said the last time because it was really brilliant, and I don't want to mess it up.
Let's repeat it. At the risk of repeating yourself, Ed, like you always do. So this is the limited series for October 2013 again, and we're going to start with our Patagonia Pinot Noir.
Which this time comes from Argentina.
It's changed origins. Originally it was from Chile. But actually, I was telling you that one of the vendors came in yesterday during tasting day, which was Tuesday, and they saw this wine and they couldn't believe that we're able to feature a Patagonia Pinot Noir at this price because it's $15.99 for more.
We should do this again because it tastes a lot better than it did when we first had it. It's opened up a little bit.
It will change in the glass. Look at the nose; it's totally Pinot Noir now.
Well, I don't know about that.
What do you don't know about
It's more Pinot Noir than
Don't cross me in the middle of the video.
There, I feel better already. It's not what your conventional Pinot Noir tastes like, you know, cherries and cotton candy and whatnot. But it does have some Pinot Noir character. Whatever it is, I don't care. I like it. I think it's a delicious wine.
Well, but the point is, this, as far as Pinot Noir is concerned in that part of the world, because South America is kind of new to Pinot Noir.
Right, very.
And they don't. It's a difficult grape, and the ones I've tasted until now had no Pinot Noir character at all.
Delicious.
This one clearly has Pinot Noir character, but it's not like that Monterey, Santa Barbara, Central Coast Pinot Noir character. It's more, Napa, Sonoma. It almost reminds me of Sonoma Valley Pinot Noir.
I said that in the last video, that it's not like the Monterey one.
Oh.
We can't trade places on this because then we'll get really confused.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm giving this wine a 95. I think it's terrific. And I'd love to have this with duck. Maybe duck confit tacos or something. Yeah.
Duck Pond. We're going to the Duck Pond.
Here we're back again.
Ed brought me some wine today from the Duck Pond Vineyards, which actually we're featuring the Chardonnay next month, I think it is. In December. It's really good.
And this wine comes from one of our favorite people that I've known for, 40 years or so.
He thinks he's his best friend, but he's not. I am. Our friend Melvin Masters. Now, it'll be Melvin. Isn't it Melvin like when you pull somebody's underwear up? Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, just when you thought he hit the low point, then in walks Paul. This is Macon from the Burgundy region of France, where some of the greatest wines in the world are made. This is primarily white wine country, and they certainly make some great whites there. Macon is considered kind of the everyday white Burgundy, but this certainly is an everyday tasting wine, that's for sure.
Not at all. In fact, the last Macon we did was the Macon Classé.
Oh, I love
Remember that?
area. Yeah, it was delicious.
That's from Peter Mann at the Wine Warehouse. And this is better than that for sure because it's got much more character. Because sometimes Macon's going to be kind of thin and just sort of, like you said, everyday Chardonnays. But this has definitely got character.
This is really a spectacular wine. And what a price, too. I mean, $24.99 on the shelf and $14.99, considering, where the euro is, that's a phenomenal price. I mean, 10 years ago, you would have paid the equivalent of $10 today if the exchange rate had held.
If it held, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that increases all the exchange rate,
Now, the beauty of, even despite Ed's long-standing history with Melvin Masters.
And his best friend.
The relationship that we have, and I'll give Ed some credit, we does have a relationship, but, Melvin had this extra wine. He brought it in for a very famous hotel chain, and they didn't take it all. And because of our relationships, he says, hey, listen, I want to do you a favor. If you could move this wine for me, buy it, sell it to your customers, I'll make sure you get a great price so you can offer it to your customers, in this case at $14.99, which is a steal. But
really
otherwise, our relationships is what get these values that we otherwise would never find.
The funny part about this business, you can say a person's first name, like earlier he said Bruno. We all know who he's talking about.
It's loaded with characters, folks.
I'm giving this a 96.
I'll go 97 because I really like it.
Okay, 98.
Damn it. I ran out of room.
Come on, I want to hear 99.
Hike.
All right. Now, household word in my house, Mencia.
Is that when somebody pulls the underwear from somebody behind? Oh.
No, I think that's the name of your cat.
This folk, I told you this story earlier. At the risk of repeating myself.
Which he said I do, but go ahead.
These folks, classic environment of the wine world, thinking, well, if we bring in wines from, our indigenous home, we're going to make a lot of money. And we met this guy at a party at our house. He came to the neighborhood community party, and he tells me his cousin owns vineyards in this little area called Sacra, Ribera de Sacra in Spain. And, how would you suggest bringing the wines in? So they came out, and I said, find a wholesaler, find an importer, bring in a few cases, 20 each varietal, and see if you can sell them. No. They go rent a warehouse, bond it, spend all this money, bring in a container.
Which is 1,200 cases, by the way.
And then they try to sell it. And so 2 years later, they came back, and I said, how's it going? They go, it's really hard. I'm like, oh, geez, shocker. And very attractive young lady that sells the wine, and she's a talk show host in Vegas or something for the Spanish-speaking
Wow. Well,
community.
that usually works. Good-looking women sell a lot of wine.
Well, in this case, the wine's really good.
Well, there you go. Well, this is spectacular. I mean, this is one of those red wines that has a white wine sort of component in this peach flavor that, almost like, I hate to use the word, but sangria, but it's not sweet, but it has that kind of fruit component in there.
I kind of agree with that because in the beginning, you get that. And so it's almost like one of those Viognier, Syrah blends that they
Exactly.
make, right? You pick up those components, but they're not overbearing.
Yeah, it just adds more complexity and makes the wine much more interesting. This is a really fascinating wine, and I really like it. I'm doing it.
Mencia being an indigenous grape from this area, and by the way, we're well known. The Wine of the Month Club now is well known in Riax's Sacra, or Ribera de Sacra, because we brought these wines in, and we were going to be written in the local trade magazine in that area for supporting the brand and supporting the grape, because I've never tasted a Mencia from anywhere else. Have you?
Yeah, I've had a few of them, and this is definitely the best I've tasted. I haven't had one for a million years, and they were pretty rank wines. I mean, the quality of wines all around the world has really gone up significantly because there's so much that you have to have good wine. Anyway, I'm doing a 95 on this.
I'll go 95 too as well. I think I told you this. My father-in-law was so excited. He came in yesterday and brought me a bottle of Armenian Muscat, which won the gold medal in a Paris Muscat tasting against all the big players. But the label, he goes, can we bring this in and you can sell it? I'm like, it says Armenia. I go, Dad, I don't think it's going to sell. I mean, it'll sell in an Armenian restaurant in an Armenian market. But
Well, that's a big market.
yeah, that's huge, right? If you're in Fresno or Glendale. So another stellar sort of, not first time, but just a really indigenous thing that you just don't see and probably wouldn't buy if you walked in the shelf.
Well,
right?
not if you don't know what it is, but Albarino is a spectacular and very, very unique grape, and it's unique for one specific reason. It grows only in one area very well in Spain, in western Spain, in a place called Rías Baixas. And what makes this area different from every other area on earth that grows great grapes is it's cold and wet. And every other grape growing area is hot and warm and dry. You don't want any moisture because you get mold on the grapes and then you have to spray them or whatever. For some reason, this grape just thrives there. I don't think you can find any other grape being grown there, but who cares because it's really spectacular.
It's got the weight of like a Viognier. It's got some of that tropical character, but it's not all of that. It's got some mineral components. It's unique in itself and world class as far as its character is concerned.
Yeah, it's extremely interesting, and it reminds me of Torrontés in Argentina a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it comes off like you think you're going to get a big burst
that's
of
true.
wine, but it's not there. It's really tight. It
Still
has
pretty
great
tight,
acidity, and God, raw oysters,
Yeah, I was just gonna say, some
Kumamotos.
raw fish. Oh, man, it's
geez,
really good.
unbelievable. 96.
96 for me too. This is if you can find it, it's $24.99 on the shelf. You can get more for $14.99.
Great
But if you
price.
want to break away from the Sauvignon Blanc Chardonnay syndrome, this is how you do it right here.
And there you have it. Limited series 2013 Wine of the Month Club for November.
Gee.
October. 2 more months and it's all over.